Why do we have elections? Have you ever thought about it? Plus, Amendment 1 in Tennessee, there are some people that are trying to put themselves on a fast track to a very dark and hot place. This and a lot more on today's Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Welcome to the show, friend. Please stay with me if you can for the whole program. You're going to want to see the segment on Amendment 1 in Tennessee. But I want to talk to you first about elections. We have the election coming up very shortly. And I was pondering this morning, why do we have elections? I mean, have you ever thought about it? Why do we have elections? I've thought about this a lot in the past, and I'm going to give you the answer. You ready? The reason we have elections is so that we don't have to kill people. I repeat, I'm not trying to be facetious, and I'm not trying to be highly charged, but it's actually the truth. The reason that we have elections is so that we don't have to kill people. What does an election represent? It represents, or it brings about, the change of government. Now look at some parts of the world in our lifetimes, over the centuries. How did they have changes of government? Well, for some of them, they didn't for a long time. They had dynasties, kings, emperors, the divine right of kings. And some of them ruled benevolently, some of them ruled with an iron fist, but that's what it was. If you wanted to change the king, you either waited for him to die or you tried to overthrow him. Such as with the Cromwellian Revolution against the English monarchy. Such as with the American Revolution with King George III. They wouldn't let us vote. And so what did our forebears do? They picked up guns. They killed their fellow Britons in the American Revolutionary War. Look around the world today. Guerrilla warfare, terrorism, murders, assassinations, disappearances. The reason that we have elections is it's war by another means. That's one of the reasons that they call them campaigns. The old use of the word campaign was a military campaign. All right? Think back. Think of your writing of the Caesars or the Greeks, their campaign against such and such a country. It wasn't a vote. It was a war. It was a battle. So elections are war by another means. They're battles by another means, a peaceful means. And I, for one, I'm thankful. I mean, there is probably a large portion of people, minority, but a large minority in the country that would like to see some people not be alive. We got them out of power and we sent them on their way into the next life. But we don't want that. We want to have a peaceful transition of power. Even during the Civil War, Lincoln was reelected. I mean, it's been an amazing experiment in self-government, as we call it here in America. Now, there are some people who are very upset, justly so, about the direction that our country is taking. And as I've covered on the show, there was a poll recently that said that about a third of Americans believe that a revolution, a violent revolution, will be necessary to resecure our constitutional rights. If you hang out with certain people or listen to certain things on the radio or on TV or read certain blogs or whatever, you'll see people saying what we need is a Second Amendment style revolution. We're going to have to revolt. And I look at them and I say, you know, two things. Number one, if you've run with footmen and grown weary, how are you going to run with horses? We are so outgunned right now. Government officials have the American populace so outgunned as far as armaments that it's just not feasible. But I'm going to go a step further and to rebuke people who think that way, all right? I rebuke you, and here's why. We have a built-in revolution. every 2 years. The United States House of Representatives, the entire House, 435 seats, is up for re-election every 2 years. You want to have a revolution? You want a complete change of government? There it is, without firing a shot. And the founders of this republic created the House of Representatives to have the ability for immediacy. It's the people's house. We can reach it quickly. We don't like what they're doing, we throw them out quickly. All spending bills originate in the House of Representatives. So if the government is spending our money in a way we don't like, it starts with the House. The House of Representatives is the first to introduce legislation or a bill to spend money. And if we don't like what they're doing, bang, we can get rid of them every 2 years, and we can have a revolution peacefully. So if you look at the ills that are destroying this country, just look at the funding of Planned Parenthood, this criminal syndicate protecting pimps and pedophiles and child predators and people that are trafficking in human souls and bodies in the so-called sex industry. Sex slavery is more like it. Planned Parenthood is getting federal tax money, our money, and our representatives don't get them out. Don't defund them. And we don't take out our representatives. And so at the end of the day, thank God for elections and the fault of the corrupt, godless leadership that is literally destroying this country on the installment plan. The fault for that lies primarily with the voters of America, including the Christians who have voted to put some of these tyrannical monsters in office. But I digress. Vote, because it's better than the alternative.
You have two choices. I mean, you can try to raise your children by design, or you will raise them by default. There are no perfect parents. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. If we have a plan, we've got a better chance of getting it right in the long run.
There is something deep within the heart of every human being that longs for parental acceptance and approval. When does a boy become a man?
Get a group of guys around and ask them that question.
I don't think there's a certain age. Some men stay boys their whole life.
I would say, 16, 18 years old?
Wow, that's a good question.
When they get bar mitzvah.
Well, I think when he has a child. So I just became at 56, 56 years old.
Without the power of the Holy Spirit changing us and giving us power over our sin, we can't hope to be the dads that our kids need us to be.
Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Well, as the election bears in on us almost here, let's talk about ways that we can waste our money. All right? Number 1, you can waste your money by giving to any 501c3 group that is capitalizing on an issue and pretending to have an impact on the upcoming election. A 501c3 is a tax-exempt group, by the way, and tax-exempt groups under the IRS code are legally forbidden to try and impact the outcome of an election. They're not allowed to oppose a candidate or to endorse a candidate. Okay? So if you want to waste your money, get those letters in your email inbox or in your snail mail inbox and look at them and say, we're going to be a voice for the unborn babies. I saw one from a 501c3 group this morning with a picture of a dead baby, which I encourage you to use. Pictures of dead babies are worth a lot to impact the heart and soul of the viewer. And it said, give baby choice a chance to be a voice. Your donation will give baby choice her voice. I thought, ooh. And then they were talking in there about having an impact on the upcoming election. I thought, oof, this is capitalizing. This is funding a machine, a 501c3 machine, by using the election mingled with dead babies to get people to part with their money. And it's unethical because it's deceitful. If they wanted to say, look, we're pro-life and we're going to print literature and we can't impact the upcoming election unless our educational efforts do so, but we can't tell you whether or not you can vote for this baby killer or this righteous pro-lifer. If they want to just say that up front, say we really can't have much of an impact on the election, but we want you to give us money, well then at least they're being honest. Another way that you can waste your money is to give your money to a party like the Republican Party or one of the huge wings of the party that are there to re-elect Republican senators or re-elect Republican House members. You can waste your money there. And maybe if you give it to one of the groups that John Boehner can have influence on, you can actually financially support 3 candidates that I can think of right now, one in Oregon, one in Massachusetts, and one in California, Republican candidates who are promoting child killing, who believe in the murder of babies. So your money can be wasted and go to a candidate that believes in child killing. 2 of those Republican candidates, by the way, are openly homosexual and all 3 of them are openly promoting same-gender marriage, same-gender matrimony. So if you are looking for a place to pour your money down an ideological and political rat hole, you could put it in John Boehner's hands. I don't think that's a good plan. If you're going to give financially to campaigns, know the candidate and then give directly to the candidate, whether it's a local candidate, a state candidate, or a federal candidate. Know the candidate. Find out where the candidate stands exactly on the life and death issues that we're facing, and then make your decision to cut that check. Don't put your money into the hands of a godless elite like John Boehner or somebody he's not godless, he's just turning his back on God and on his Christian faith. Don't put your money in hands like people like him, and don't waste your money in an election cycle in a 501c3 tax-exempt group if you are trying to impact the election. Rather, use your voice, do a protest, right? Go and hold a demonstration in support of or in contradiction to or against a candidate. Get in the news. Have your voice be heard. Have an impact. But don't squander your money unless you want to. But before you do that, would you please go to our website and give your money to us? Because we won't squander it. We'll use it for hard-hitting messages like this one. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. It took me 14 years to write it. 4 rewrites, countless edits. I poured my heart and soul into Dragon Slayers. At points a very inspiring and painful book to write. I encourage you to go to our website and look at the reviews that we have gotten from readers of this book, and then avail yourself. It's an allegory, and I promise you, you'll be inspired. All of the polling data that is out there shows right now that the Democrats are going to get throttled in the upcoming election. And I confess, I'll be jumping up and down for joy. We've got 4 small children. We told our sons that we're going to have an election party here at the house. They said, what does that mean? It means you're going to put on pajamas. We're going to get out chips and cut up pieces of cheese, and we're going to watch the election results way into the night to see just how many seats the Democrats lose in the House and if they lose control of the Senate. And I would be thrilled if the Democrats lost control of the Senate, because it's a frontal rebuke to Obama and his administration. You must have seen the stories how literally no Senate campaign, none of the Democratic Senate campaigns that are in a real true fight, none of them are asking the president to come and campaign with them. Obola, that's the latest. It's not Ebola, it's Obola, because Obama is so toxic and so infectious that his own party Senate members don't want him around. But as excited as I'll be for the Democrats to lose control of the Senate, I'm not excited about the Republicans gaining control of the Senate. I mean, really, are you? They had the ability, the Republicans who control the House, they had the ability to say, we're not funding Obamacare. Yeah, it's the law, we're not funding it, and we control the purse strings. And there were members of the U.S. House that said, let's do this, let's introduce this bill. And John Boehner wouldn't have it, Speaker of the House. I mean, do you think that Mitch McConnell is going to go to the mat for babies to try and defund the criminal syndicate of Planned Parenthood? And so as we approach the upcoming election, you know, we're all going to want to sing ding dong, the witches, da, 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 and have a time of joy if the Senate goes to the Republicans. Part of me is so jaded and so sad because our Republican leaders in the House and the Senate, with a few, thank God, a few exceptions, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, a few others, they're just squishes. They're pillars of jello. They have compromised so radically and so lost their moral compass that they cannot discern what is worth fighting for and what demands immediate action. They're corrupt. If you had the ability to stop the attack of Herod on the babies in Bethlehem, and then you had the ability to debate whether or not there would be a paved road that led up to Solomon's temple, and you had to choose one or the other, what would you do if you were in office? If somehow, some rewrite of history, you were a part of the Sanhedrin, and you had that window of time to stop the slaughter of the babies in Bethlehem, or to get involved in some petty little fight over a road going up to the temple, what would you have done? Well, the butchery of the babies in Bethlehem by Herod was clearly one of the greatest outrages in the history of the human race. But I think that Obama may be outstripping Herod, except for the fact that Herod was actually trying to kill the Christ. Obama is certainly promoting child killing in America and around the world. He's a tyrant, baby-killing tyrant. And our so-called pro-life friends want to debate and discuss whether or not we should have a road going up to the temple. They don't want to use their political capital to stop the butchery of the babies in Bethlehem or here in America. So, do I want the Democrats to lose the Senate? Yes, I do. Am I excited about the Republicans controlling the Senate? Yawn. I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years. And sadly, we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. We have put together what we call an online university for you. Now that's a highfalutin way of saying that we have a pretty significant library of material, books, tapes, videos that are there for you for free. Why are we doing this? Because America is desperate for new leaders, and because this material could help you to become the leader that you and God want you to be. Check it out and enjoy it. It is better to have an ambitious plan than none at all. Sir Winston Churchill. There is a worthy fight going on in Tennessee, and those affiliates of ours and viewers of ours here in Tennessee, I want to encourage you, vote yes on Amendment 1, all right? The Tennessee Supreme Court ruled a few years back that child killing was a fundamental constitutional right under the Tennessee Constitution. Some of the locals in Tennessee say that it went further than federal courts have gone. And because it is case law, that we here in Tennessee need to change the ballot, or rather the state constitution. So here's what Amendment 1 says. And then I want to play for you the ad that the child killers are using on TV right now. All right? So here's what Amendment 1 says. Nothing in this Constitution, that's the Tennessee Constitution, secures or protects a right to abortion or requires the funding of an abortion. The people retain the right through their elected state representatives and state senators to enact, amend, or repeal statutes regarding abortion, including, but not limited to, circumstances of pregnancy which result from rape or incest, or when necessary to save the life of the mother. There it is. It basically takes away the right of the state Supreme Court of Tennessee to say that this is an unfettered constitutional right, and just says, look, the people hold the right, have the right through their state officials to change the law. Okay? Nothing really earth-shattering here. This isn't making child killing illegal, right? It's not defunding Planned Parenthood. It's just taking away the ability of a minority who are unelected officials sitting on the state Supreme Court to be judicial dictators and tyrants, all right? It's pretty innocuous, all things considered. Now, listen to this ad. Watch this ad and these phony ministers. Go ahead.
In Tennessee, we try to live lives of faith, particularly in the most difficult times.
But Amendment 1 would put government in the midst of our most personal and private decisions.
Like what to do when a woman has been raped.
Or a pregnant woman has been diagnosed with cancer.
In truth, only families can make these decisions.
And they do it in alignment with their own faith.
And it is not for the rest of us to judge.
Please vote no on Amendment 1. It goes too far.
I would be very, very fearful for these people to face their maker. Very fearful for them. But notice that they lied. First of all, notice that they lied. All right? Nothing in this goes too far. It doesn't do anything. It just says that it's the right of the people to enact laws. That's all it says. But I'll go a step further. In alignment with their faith, and it's not for us to judge. Excuse me? Whose faith allows you to butcher a baby? What is this, a faith from hell? I mean, these are people who I'm guessing are baptized Christians who have become, in this, servants of Satan. And I'm calling out to all y'all, you're servants of Satan. You have blood on your hands. You have blood on your hands. There is no part of the Christian faith that allows you to butcher a baby. And yes, we are called to judge with righteous judgment. Okay, that's what the Bible says. Judge with righteous judgment. Defend the fatherless. Don't throw them into the hands of butchers in the name of Christianity. God have mercy on them.